Welcome back to another voice note. Today I want to talk to you about the kind of sex that I notice people have and a concept I came up with to help clients broaden their sexual repertoire. Because when I was writing my research, essentially the research was like, queer people have better sex. Like, that's it. That was just what the research said. So, like, don't come for me. But essentially, they were kind of saying, like, when it came to not experiencing orgasm, having low desire, difficulty with arousal, or experiencing pain, most of the time those people were in heterosexual relationships. And my research specifically looked at how when women presented with these concerns, they were often medicalized. So prescribed antidepressants and told, like, just have a glass of wine and you'll be in the mood. And my argument was that we actually need to look at the whole picture. What's happening in their relationship? What's happening in their sex life that's making sex painful, or the kind of sex that you're not aroused for and desiring. And when I started talking to clients, I noticed that they had some pretty restricted sexual repertoires, meaning the scope or diversity of sexual behaviors they engaged in. And what I noticed is that more people than you think are having the kind of sex where there is kissing, some like touching, then they go straight to penetration of a penis in a vagina, and then there's usually male orgasm. And I likened this to what I now call the het sex menu, meaning there's an entree of kissing and touching, the main course, penetration, dessert, male orgasm. A lot of people were having sex like this, more than I thought. And I wasn't shaming or critical, obviously, as a therapist. I was just really curious. I was like, so is this arousing you? Like, do you look forward to this kind of sex? And sometimes they would say yes, because it was like safe and reliable. And if they experienced pain, they knew what to expect. And for others, it was like, no, I'm like deeply, deeply dissatisfied. And I was like, makes sense. But in order to help people broaden their sexual repertoire, I had to come up with an analogy or a metaphor. I always mix those two up. Anyway, one time I went to Las Vegas. And when I was in Las Vegas, most people go to Las Vegas to party. When I went to Las Vegas, I just ate at the breakfast buffet. That's all I did for the first half of the day. I would wake up early. I'd go to bed early. I'd wake up early, and I would be there at like 7, 8 a.m. on the dot. And I would eat first breakfast like a fucking hobbit. And then I would drink coffee, have a tactical poo. And then I'll go back for second breakfast like a fucking hobbit. And I had the time of my life. Like, it was the best breakfast buffet, because every morning I would stand there with a tray and I would look amongst the splendor and diversity that was a Las Vegas breakfast buffet. Not only did they have a continental breakfast with your baked goods, your cereals, they also had an egg station, standard. They also had warm breakfast with like the bacon, the mushrooms, the tomatoes, whatever they do. But they also had a full-blown sushi bar. They had curries and like Asian section. They also had a full Christmas lunch. I'm talking a full fucking Christmas ham, amongst other things. It's so blurred because I was probably like dissociating from joy. But essentially, I just remember every morning being like, what will I have today? And funnily enough, when I started having sex with women, it kind of felt like being at a breakfast buffet in Las Vegas, because I was like, whoa, like I'm not just anticipating penetration of a penis in a vagina. I'm going, okay, so like what else do we do? And it felt like this like fun, it was the same feeling of standing at the Las Vegas breakfast buffet and thinking like, what joy that I just get to pick something new and different every time. There's no prescriptive menu here. And that's what made me come up with the concept of the queer sex buffet, where I start telling clients, instead of the het sex menu, I want you to think of sex as like a sex buffet. Like you're in Las Vegas and every day you turn up with a tray with your partner or by yourself and you go, what am I going to put on the tray today? This really helps people consider that there are so many options and that all they need to do is identify what they're in the mood for, what their preferences are, and if those align with their partner. I often give them like a table with like a bunch of different sexual behaviors. Everything from like kissing, cuddling, showering together, stroking hair, to like kink and BDSM things. And I just say like circle the things you're in the mood for, and then look at your partners and see what you have in common. That will give you an idea of some things you could do to broaden the sexual repertoire. Anyway, so this queer sex buffet has been quite important in helping people to broaden their mindset around sex, that it doesn't have to be prescriptive every time, but that in order for the queer sex buffet to be an enjoyable place, you need to communicate. You need to be able to talk about, just because we put curry on the tray yesterday doesn't mean I'm in the mood for curry today. Just because we went for raw sashimi last week, baby doll, doesn't mean your girl wants to do raw sashimi today, you know? So I just think that it's such a good way of looking at your sex life and starting to think more creatively and curiously about pleasure. The communication is a big piece, so often people are in therapy to help navigate talking about how to do this, but it comes from transferable skills. If you can talk about what you want to eat for dinner in a relationship, be like, no, we had pizza last week. Actually, I'm in the mood for sushi today. Then you can talk about sex. It's literally the same. It's literally the same. You know, save yourself the money coming to therapy. Come to therapy if you want. But it's really just the same as talking about eating out food. You're just eating out different kind of thing. Different kind of delicious meal, my guy. Anyway, so that's my queer sex buffet concept, inspired by Las Vegas. And I hope that maybe gets you thinking about your sexual repertoire and how it could be broader and more flexible to suit your pleasure. Love you, miss you, kiss you.